well. Uh, Dr. Jadeja?
Yeah. Hello.
Okay. Yes, yes. So our next session for which the speaker has already joined. The session is on cleaner production and technology innovation for sustainable industrial development. It will be delivered by Dr. Bharat P. Jain, Member Secretary, Gujarat Cleaner Production Center, Gandhinagar. And sir, basically we are fortunate enough since because since last 2 years, our PhD students are getting awarded from GCPC and today we have that one-to-one session. Thank you, sir. And I request Dr. Jadeja to introduce Dr. Bharat Jain.
Okay, thank you, Megal. So, welcome, sir, Dr. Bharat P. Jain, sir. So, I will briefly introduce about our speaker. So, Dr. Bharat Jain is having doctorate in environmental engineering, which is backed with postgraduate diploma in business management. So, and he is having more than 4 decades of experience. Okay, particularly out of that, almost majority of about 3 decades is with industry. So he had also worked with public health engineering departments in the government of Rajasthan as well as Gujarat. He had designed and executed number of water supply and drainage schemes in Rajasthan as well as Gujarat. And he is also having a vast experience of planning of industrial estates with necessary infrastructures, including STPs and CETPs. He is also involved in carrying out environmental impact assessment studies, and he is a former executive engineer and chief engineer of GIDC, and at present he is working as member secretary of Gujarat Cleaner Production Center. So this particular center is engaged in promotional activities related to cleaner productions and waste minimizations with an objective of achieving sustainable development by bringing balance between ecology and economy. And he has also been actively involved in many projects of water and energy conservation, climate change adaptations and mitigation, and transfer of cleaner technologies to different industries. Now he is also, for the first time in Gujarat state, he has developed the concept of eco-industrial park, which is matching with the industrial development scenario of Gujarat state. Now, based on this concept, right now is working on retrofitting infrastructures of different GIDCs like Naroda GIDC, Vapi, Dahej, Navsari, and Surat. Whatever existing infrastructure is there, that has been retrofitted into an eco-industrial park. Now, he is also involved in framing the Gujarat industrial policy, which has recently been launched for providing financial assistance towards the implementation of concept of this eco-industrial park, or what is also known as green industrial park. Now, he is having membership as well as directorship of several committees. To brief about that, he is presently member of expert appraisal committee for environmental clearance that involves violence cases under the Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. He is also vice chairman of Narmada Clean Technology Limited, which is operating a CETP of 60 MLD capacity. He is director of CETP Sarigam Clean Initiative, having a CETP of 15 MLD capacity, and he is representing the global network for resource efficient and cleaner production, that is in short known as RECP net, which is UNIDO initiative for our Asia and Asia Pacific centers. He is also member of technical committee of Gujarat Pollution Control Board as well as Gujarat State Biotechnology Mission. He is member of Environment Audit Committee of GPCB. He is also acting as a member of State Level Approval Committee for Assistance to Environment Protection Measures and State Level Committee for Cleaner Production Award. He is also ex-member of State Environment Appraisal Committee, and he has also been bestowed with a lifetime award of Occupational Safety and Health Association of India for environment protection for dedicated and committed contribution to environment protection through various national as well as international initiatives. Now, industries apart, he is also actively involved in academics too as an external faculty at LD College of Engineering in the Environmental Engineering Department, acting as a member of course committee at GTU as well as PDPU in Gandhinagar. He is also serving as external guide for many of the PG dissertations at various state universities, and is also an expert examiner for PG level environmental subjects at Sardar Patel University and Gujarat University. He is having to his credit two book reviews, one on sustainable development learning and perspectives from India, which is published by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and the other one is cleaner production and its application to industries, which is being published by Gujarat Cleaner Production Center. Apart from this, he has wide international exposure as he has participated in many cleaner technology related events or programs, conferences, seminars in various countries of the world as an invitee member by reputed international organizations like UNIDO, UNEP, or the German agency that is GIZ, etc. And he has also presented several papers, including case studies on cleaner production techniques, industries and environment, waste management, eco-industrial estate, and several relevant topics in various national conferences and seminars. So this is all about Dr. Bharat P. Jain. Now today, he will be delivering a talk on cleaner production and technology innovation for sustainable industrial development. Now, as all the participants might be aware about or already have gone through the 12 principles of green chemistry in the introductory session by Dr. Jigisa Parekh. Okay, so it is the very first principle that is prevention rather than treatment. So the session will be revolving around this first principle of green chemistry. So that's all. I am handing over the session to Dr. Jain. Sir, please.
Yeah, namaskar. Am I audible, doctor?
Yeah, sir.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So, thank you very much. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to talk to SVNIT students because I'm the alumni 76 Civil when it was REC Surat, and always I would like to visit Surat, but I'm missing because of this COVID-19, and but I keep visiting Surat because I had spent my teenage at Surat. I still remember Mysore Cafe, Chowpatty and all that. So a very good morning to all, and
present now. Escape now. Google Meet में present now. Google Meet में present now. Google Meet खोलो.
Google Meet तो खोल लो.
आपने Chroma सर. या नीचे present now खोलो.
क्या है?
Present now. सर option house है. ऊपर पर उसमें.
So I'm sharing my presentation.
One minute सर जो नहीं है. क्या Google Meet में से कर लो सर.
Are you able to see it? Jadeja sir?
No, sir.
No, sir. It's not.
Okay, just a minute.
Yeah.
Bravo, क्या बोल रहा हूँ समझ. Okay, I'm going to write. Okay. Yeah. Now, is it visible? Jadeja sir? Stop presenting. I am sharing my presentation.
Sir, initially it was there, now it has gone again.
Again, yeah. Just a minute. अभी तो बाजू बंद केम कर रहे हो चालू से
Sir, પેલું present નામ નો option તમે click કરશો ને bottom right પર.
That is I have done.
Okay.
And I'm working on share an application window.
Okay. Okay.
It should come. It should come. But meanwhile, I'm really thankful to all organizer and faculty members, and I'm looking at the schedule. It is indeed a great pleasure that there are a number of experts on the field of chemical engineering, including green chemistry, which is needed. Why it is taking time? And I was just listening Dr. Thorat presentation more on technology through entrepreneurship mindset, because that mindset is very important, and it is my experience of working with industries. When I tell them to go for the change in mindset, attitudinal change, it is a bit difficult. So that is what we have been promoting, the concept of cleaner production and clean technologies, but it is not that easy. So in my brief presentation, I will take you regarding the sustainable development, and that is sustainable industrial development and the growth engine of our Gujarat state. And we claim that we are #1 highly industrialized state. But there are also certain problem of now, can you see it or still it is not visible?
Sir, it is not visible.
I've already done, sir.
सर एक मिनट rejoin कराइए.
Just a minute.
सर rejoin करिए.
I am rejoining because there was some problem with my network, I believe.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Just maybe I'm sorry for that technical glitch.
No
So
problem.
meanwhile, I will keep on talking that Gujarat, as you know, friends, that we are #1. Yeah, I'm back, and now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll go on full screen. Sorry
Yeah.
for the glitch.
चला ये कुल लोग हैं.
I'm trying for full screen. Just allow me another minute. Is it there?
Okay, sir. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I'm really sorry. Apologize for me because some technical. So I was just referring about our industrial development, and that we claim that we are #1 industrial estate. But then now it should be whatever development we talk, even including industrial, it has to be sustainable industrial development. So this would be my presentation contents, that we will talk of sustainable development, why we need it, but at the same time we are facing environmental challenges because of the industrial development in Gujarat, and how we are talking of end of pipe initially, and then protection and cleaner production. Then the green chemistry, which was discussed, and probably that is what you arrange your topics in such a nice way that the students at the end of this all session we'll learn more about how green technology and new technology. Then we'll talk of some case studies if time allows, and then benefits circular economy, just eco-industrial park, followed by industrial development uses. So in fact, what is the sustainable development? That is very common, that it should meet the need of present, because whatever development we are talking, it has to meet the need of present, but without compromising the ability of future generations. So need and greed. And that is what Gro Harman, when he was Prime Minister in 1987, came out with a very clear-cut definition that you must improve the lifestyle. You must provide basic needed to all people, but at the same time, you should preserve the natural resources. And that is what the pillars, if I talk the pillars of sustainable development, it's a people, profit, and planet. Industries are there to make profit. So that is the financial aspect, but at the same time, they have to consider people, that is social aspect, but overall the planet itself, and that is environment. So why we need it? Because we are claiming that we are, of course, a developing country, but we look forward to leader, maybe what we call the next century, and therefore we are claiming that our GDP would be increased, and we are looking for more industrialization. Of course, it is already we have come out more than 3,000 designated industrial zones across India. And then we are also talking of industrial corridors, investment regions, manufacturing zones. And we look forward to provide, because we are more in number, the huge populations. So we are looking forward to provide more jobs to the people. But at the same time, when we talk of industrial development, there is a risk associated, and that that we have been consuming the overuse of natural resources, and that is what we are facing, pollution problem. And therefore, if you recollect 2009, the Central Pollution Control Board, which is the Government of India's organization for pollution control and monitoring, declared 150 stitches of our river across the country, having 43 industrial areas which are very critical polluted. And that is our river stretches. Again, it was reviewed, and 2019 they came out with a clear-cut 80 industrial zones under critical polluted area, and therefore it was a red signal, and we have to decide some threshold. But then there is a commitment from the Government of India that we must achieve industrial growth, but at the same time we should protect the environment. And therefore there is an interrelationship between industry and environment. There are environmental challenges, and therefore we call it responsible entrepreneurship, we call responsible production and sustainable consumptions. And therefore we are introducing concept of eco-efficiency. At the same time, we are facing new challenges like globalization, information society, change of production. And therefore we have to take, when we talk of industrial development, we should take care of all stakeholders. If we back to the Gujarat story, provided that we have a Gujarat Industrial Development Organization known as the Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation, that is GIDC, which was established in the year 1968 under GID Act 1963 for the smooth development of industries in a designated area. So, in fact, as on date, we have more than 205 such industrial designated area. We call it industrial estates, where we are providing the necessary infrastructures like road, water supply, electricity, stormwater drain, shades, underground drainage, and nowadays realizing the need, the common effluent treatment plant as well. So if you look at it, as I told you that we are growth engine and we are leading one of highly industrialized state. If you talk of different sectors like aerospace and defense, almost 17% are being manufactured, and that is in our Saurashtra region. Now we are also developing more and more automobile and auto industry once we have Hyundai and Tata when they set up their industries in Gujarat. But when you talk of chemical, petrochemicals and other pharma and textile, it is almost average 30 to 35%. And nowadays we claim that almost nation's 50% of chemical production is being produced in Gujarat. So that is what the scenario. If you look at the different manufacturing clusters, spread over in Gujarat. We have almost at 26 cluster of engineering, followed by 24 chemical, 18 textile, and there are 15 mine-based industries, agro and food processing, and now we have also plastic and recycled paper industries across the Gujarat. So this is what the scenario of our industrial sector and different cluster. So therefore, we are leading and we are providing almost 8% of India's GDP. Almost because of we have got the longest coastal line, 1600 kilometer. Almost 40% of India's port cargo is being handled by Gujarat ports, having more than 26 across state, and total India as total exports. Of course, COVID had hampered, but it is more than 20%, and total industrial output is around also 20%. So that is what I told you that we have developed. GIDC has developed 208 industrial estates in the different part of our state with 106 product clusters. And we are also talking of special economic zones of multi-product, single product, multi-services. The special economic zones are zones having a better infrastructure facility, and all export-oriented industries are allowed to develop their industrial growth in this SEZ. And we are also talking of special investment region across our Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor. And so that is what we say that DMIC, probably you know that there is a corridor, a freight corridor from Delhi, crossing Rajasthan, Gujarat, and reaches to Maharashtra. And out of that total length of 1500 kilometer, almost 564 kilometer is within Gujarat. That is 38% that DFC passes through Gujarat, and we are developing this 150 kilometer both the sides of this DFC, a very special investment region. For example, Dholera SIR, that is Dholera Special Investment Region. Friends, you know that Ahmedabad is a geographical area is around 520 square kilometer. Dholera, which is 100 kilometer away from Ahmedabad, is being developed in 900 plus square kilometers. So it is almost 1.5 times Ahmedabad. So you can see the huge area which we are being covered in Dholera Special Investment Region. We will have city center. It is not only industries but logistic, knowledge center, IT, recreation, sports, entertainment. We are looking for world-class infrastructure with all connectivity, including good communication and transportation like expressway and metro, and also airstrip and airport and seaport as well as. Phase 1 and 2 are already under development. We'll be providing STP and common effluent treatment plant, and each drop, whatever we receive in these treatment facilities, will be recycled and reused. So another important from a chemical engineering point of view is the Dahej Petrochemical and Petroleum Investment Region. It is around 50 kilometers from Bharuch of the area, almost close to Ahmedabad, that is 453 square kilometers. And we'll be having more, petroleum and chemical and petrochemical related industries. We have got an LNG terminal, and we are having again a very special infrastructure like network of roads, water supply, drainage, disposal facilities of treated wastewater and solid waste disposal as well. This is just to compare the area of Dholera and another very famous country, Singapore. Just to give you idea, Singapore has an average of area of 700 square kilometers, while the Dholera we are developing 900 square kilometers. So we are developing Dholera, which will be having area larger than a country like Singapore. That is just to give you idea. Back to our chemical industries across Gujarat. So these are the estate where we have developed. This is the golden corridor between Ahmedabad and Bombay, right from your Naroda, Vatwa, which are in the vicinity of Ahmedabad. And once you move, it is Nandesari. Then we have got petrochemical complex at Vadodara. Then Bharuch is one of the important district for us. We have got Ankleshwar, Jagadia, Panoli, and Dahej industrial area. Now Vilayat, and close to Surat, we have got Sachin and Pandesara. And then once we move towards South Gujarat, it is Vapi and then Sarigam and Umargam. So these are the estates, friends, where we have more than 50% of chemical industries. And we were happy. We thought that we achieved a sustainable development, but no, it was not the case. Because when we started industrial development long back in the year 60s, we were not aware about the environmental issues. Our Water Act came in 74, followed by EP Act 1986. But there was one of the historical judgment under Special Civil Application 770/1995, that is 1995, when there was a CO motto by the Honorable Gujarat High Court, and they said that your industries located in the vicinity of Ahmedabad are generating some toxic waste. That toxic waste is creating environmental issues and pollution problems down to the line of the farmers, and they are getting colored and toxic and contaminated water in their water sources. Of course, that judgment was very historical because with one judgment, the verdict said that you close these industries which are located near Ahmedabad. So we realized that, oh, our industries, particularly chemical industries, are generating some waste which is toxic, and that creates environmental issues. With that judgment, we realized that we have to do it, and that is what we have done. End of pipe approach. Friends, you know that once somebody is sick, he will immediately go to doctor for the treatment. You will think of treatment only. So that is what we did, and good that even as on date, Gujarat was the first to provide what I call common effluent treatment plant, where we receive the partially treated wastewater from different industries. Then we treated one common place. So almost at more than 33 places, we have provided common effluent treatment plant, and where we are treating almost more than 550 million liter per day of wastewater from the different industries. But that is not the story, because we are generating solid waste. It is law of thermodynamics. So when we treat our effluent with the conventional treatment facilities, that is physico-chemical, followed by activated sludge, that is biological, and obviously we are generating huge sludge in this treatment facilities, and therefore we have provided a common treatment and storage disposal facilities for industrial hazardous waste at almost 8 places. But again, the treated wastewater you are not supposed to throw here and there. So we have executed, probably for the first time in our country, a marine deep sea arrangement. For example, at Ankleshwar, Panoli, Jagadia, that is what we have one SPV like Narda Clean Technology. We are collecting partially treated waste from Ankleshwar, Panoli and Jagadia industrial estates, and almost 60 MLD. Now we have got 45 MLD CETP, which we are augmenting to 60 MLD. We are, after treatment, we are sending it back to the sea with a deep marine sea disposal arrangement. It is a very costly affair. We have laid 55-kilometer pipeline, out of which almost 12 kilometer offshore, that is into the deep sea, with a marine diffuser to achieve more than 150 times dilution. Again, at Dahej also, we have provided similar 55-kilometer pipeline from our common effluent treatment plant. Out of 55, almost 4 kilometer offshore, that is into the deep sea, Sarigam and all that. What I am trying to tell, that even after treatment, we are generating huge waste. So we have provided TSDF. For treated wastewater disposal, we have laid deep sea disposal arrangement. We are also working on different ambient air monitoring stations as a requirement. And it is not only the treatment, we have common multi-effective evaporator, followed by a common spray dryer. So you see, these are the facilities which probably the only state have provided for our industries. And then we claim that we are good with the environmental issues. because we have got such a facilities and we spent huge amount. This is just to give you idea of the common infrastructure. And this is the offshore pipeline which we laid into the deep sea. And also we have at one place hydrodynamic cavitation based treatment facilities of almost 15 MLD at Nandesari. On the right side you can see the TSDF, and for the first time at Vapi on the below right side we have constructed a retaining wall sort of thing, because there was a bridge long back. And it is not only, we are talking of common multi-FFT evaporator. On one of our TSDF, we have a temple. And unless you are told that you are standing on the capped TSDF, you will not come to know that you are there on the hazardous waste disposal facilities. So it is all infrastructure facilities we have provided, and we have spent huge money. For example, our common effluent treatment plant at Vapi costed us almost 180 crore. And to run that plant, we are spending 2.5 crore per month. And that cost will be increasing because, you know, there is the electricity charges, manpower and chemicals. At the same time and we are generating almost 150 metric tons of solid waste, which require to be disposed of in our hazardous disposal facilities. But we do not have many, land available to have more such facilities. This is what Ankleshwar, Panoli and Jagadia, we are collecting their treated waste at one point, and then we are taking it back to the sea, and we are trying to augment it to 75 MLD. It is almost 10 kilometers into the deep sea with marine outfall facilities. This is what I am showing, the Gulf of Khambhat, where we have got disposal facilities. Water is an issue at Dahej. We are coming out with Bhadbut weir, but by that time, we are for the first time in country are providing 100 MLD desalination facility to provide water for our Dahej industrial PCPIR. Why I'm discussing? Because we thought that by spending huge amount and by providing these many facilities at our industrial estate, we are relaxed that, okay, now our environmental issues are over. But no, again in 2018, the Ministry and CPCB has come out with that comprehensive environmental pollution index, that still your area like Vadodara, Ankleshwar, Vapi, Surat, Vatwa, Rajkot and Ahmedabad are under critical polluted region and critical polluted area. And this critical polluted area means the industries which are located in this area are not allowed to augment their production. At the same time, new industries which wanted to start their industries are not allowed to function. So the point what I'm telling, that in spite of providing so many treatment facilities, disposal facilities, what we have achieved, our ecology and economy were moving apart. So economy say we are going on this side, ecology say we are going on this side, and we are not reaching at any point. So this is not the sustainable industrial development. Even with the end of pipe, the treatment facilities, but again, many of our area are under SEPI. So this is a very sensitive, because our parameters given to CETP are 250 mg per liter, for example, COD. And if we are getting 251, we are at fault. If you are having 249, you are relaxed. So our parameters are also concentration based, and therefore the treatment what I'm talking of end of pipe is also like seesaw, you know, the development and the ecology. What now I'm trying with the cleaner production, that is what I'm going to tell about next, probably next half an hour, that we can go together. The ecology and economy should go together, and they should enjoy the life and the environment. What does it mean? That you go for industrial development, but you protect with the cleaner production concept. And that cleaner production is a journey from passive, that is ignore pollution, to the reactive, that is dilution and dispersion. It was what had happened long back. Then constructive is the end of pipe treatment, but now we are talking of reactive, and that is cleaner productions. So proactive, I'm sorry, the cleaner production is proactive. You have to be proactive. when you design, I'm talking to young chemical engineers, when you design any chemical reaction, chemical plant, you must know that with that process, you must generate zero waste, which is not possible, of course, but then you can minimize that waste. And then you should think how best you can recycle and reuse. And that is what the concept of cleaner production, because in cleaner production, the definition of waste is not waste, it is a misplaced resources. We do not know the value of it. And why it is arising? Because out of inefficient use of utilities. So when we put raw material and other utilities like water, energy, then there is a process, we get product, but at the same time, something else which we are getting, and that is what our industry says, oh, we are generating waste. So that waste, that is what important. And it is, I believe, what you have been listening throughout this session, that there is no waste, there is a dollar, there is a money in it. And that is how we should convince our industries, well, there is no waste. And that is how we started long back in the year 1998 with the technical support of UNIDO, because that concept came from UNIDO, that why everything at the end of pipe? Why can't we have at the beginning of pipe, that is at the process level? So we started long back, but initially it was very struggle period for us. It was very difficult to convince our people that you have to go for a circular economy from the linear economy. And that is what we have been providing services like CP orientation and awareness program like this. Then we are also providing training on the cleaner production assessment. And that is very important that we are doing the demonstration. We are conducting the cleaner production assessment in the revealing industries, and we provide them the tips that how you can reduce your waste. Then we implement, we support the industry in implementation, and we are also providing guidelines on the for the different sectors. So these are the our services, the basic concept of reduce, recycle, and reuse. And very simple, if I talk of methodology, it is nothing very hi-fi and this thing. Once you go and once you visit any industry, for example, this particular industry has a 3 reactor, a reactor 1, reactor 2, and reactor 3. And if he's adding their raw material, different raw material with utilities and catalysts also, then once he transfer after the reaction is over to the next reactor, and again then reactor 2 to reactor 3. But meanwhile, he says that I'm generating waste stream. For example, waste stream 1, waste stream 2, and waste stream 3. And then he says, well, this is the effluent I'm generating, I have to treat it, without knowing what it is, why it is, when it is. So when I talk of cleaner production, we just look at these waste streams, we quantify it, and then we are discussing why are arising these waste streams, when it is arising, what it is. Why don't you go for the characterization of your waste stream itself? And once we know it, there is a structured methodology by UNIDO, and there are tools, well-defined tools. When we apply tools with the structured methodology, we come out with the cleaner production assessment. For example, the tools are very simple. The best way you have to reduce your waste, write at source where you generate, and that can be done with good housekeeping. And in most of the industries wherein we have worked, that is small and medium scale, this housekeeping is missing. Housekeeping means it is not just the cleaning the floor. It is your water supply line, your steam line, how your raw material is being handled, how your product is being stored, how you are transporting your material inside and outside, how you are procuring your raw material, what is the quality of your raw material. So these are very simple tools of good housekeeping, and a walkthrough will tell you that, well, here you can save, here you are losing water, here you are losing your steam. And in my experience, almost 18 to 20% options come from the good housekeeping itself. And they are what I call low-hanging fruits. You need not invest any money in it. We have documented number of success stories which are uploaded on my website of GCPC, where we have achieved almost 18 to 20% reduction in waste just through good housekeeping. Then we talk of process changes. Unfortunately, our industries do not have much knowledge, because it is a traditional business sort of thing. Grandfather was handling, his son joined, and now his grandson joined. Without much knowing about the chemistry, without much knowing about the stoichiometry of the reaction, and then he keeps on producing. And therefore, the process changes tells you how better process control can be done, what could be the technology changes with green chemistry, how you can modify equipments, because many times their equipments are underutilized. They do not know how much capacity of equipment or reactor they have, but they keep on loading it without knowing much about the required parameters and pressures, and also the raw material changes. Now there are examples I will show you where you can change your raw material from a sort of toxic or hazardous raw material to a non-toxic raw material. So process change, you should study your reaction proper way, come out with the real stoichiometry and just compare whether that industry is following or not. The other options include the recycling. In many cases, whatever the waste stream they are generating can be recycled either in the industry on site, or they can reuse or recover, or they can create what I call a byproduct. And if required, they can change their product modification. So friend, these are the cleaner production tools, followed by, a simple 6-step methodology, which we have been doing for the CP assessment. You have to have a CP team, and you have to involve, as rightly told by Professor Thorat, you have to involve like a person who is working on that reactor. He knows more than about reaction than anybody else, because he has been working right at floor. So many tips you can get from that person only, and you should include that person also in your CP team. Then you just process steps, you block diagram, and identify how many wasteful processes are there, that is waste streams. And then you go for the material and energy balance, knowing exactly the stoichiometry. And then you will realize that what is required, then he is using more catalyst, quantity wise, volume wise, and raw material also. And then you assign the cost to the waste stream. Unless you assign that, oh, Sergi, you are losing this many rupees in your waste, the industries will not jump for the cleaner production. So that is what Professor was in my previous speaker was telling. The attitudinal change is very important, and that is very difficult as well. And then once you do this, you find out the causes of waste, then generate the CP opportunities based on the CP tools. Many waste streams, just good housekeeping. Some waste streams, you can have to go for the process changes, include green chemistry, jump to the better process which generate less waste or no waste. And then you have to select a workable opportunities, workable CP options, which should be economical, viable, technical feasible. And of course, with that, your environmental aspect must improve. You should not create any options which generates more waste. And then you select, prepare that implementation, monitor the implementation. And once you attend a particular waste stream and you finish these steps, you go back to another waste stream. So it is a continuous, what I call the cleaner production or resource efficiency and cleaner production is a continuous exercise. It is not one-time exercise like of treatment. So I will not go into much detail because green chemistry is already being covered and will be covering by very learned professors. But nowadays, we are closely working with Green Foundation India, floated by the alumni of IIT Bombay. And we are working closely with them, and many processes that they are trying to achieve result with the practices of green chemistry. But friends, this is a new, and I must request that you should learn the green chemistry at this stage itself. There are many thinking. We are involved in the intermediates of dyes and all that, and therefore I come across with the Pili team, and we are in contact with them, and they said that the team is designing best enzyme and fermentation biotechnology to efficiently transfer sugar into renewable and long-lasting colors. We are using these dyes, and the intermediates of dyes is very polluting the color pigments, and that is what we are facing problem. And if we jump to this a new sort of thing, we can have a dyes for textile and plastic, So our dyeing would be more easy, and we are looking forward to such biodegradable and NOx and non-toxic dyes. Then there is also supercritical fluid extraction, which is a novel separation process. It is being discussed in theoretical. We are trying to work out with the particular agency who has got patented with this, and then we'll see that how we can include, we can go for some pilot projects in some of our willing industries. Then this is what the forward osmosis, we know reverse osmosis, but now there is a forward osmosis also, and for the first time we'll be implementing at one of our CETP at Nandesari, that 15 mld capacity, and with this reverse osmosis followed by forward osmosis, we would be able to recycle 15 mld this wastewater. Again, this is a patented design, and our textile industries are consuming huge water, and mostly it is for washing purposes, and that wash water is creating problem as a waste stream. So now we are talking of waterless dyeing. It is already patented, only the pilot studies are being taken up. At the same time, we are also involved in preparing BREF document. Friends, probably you know that in European countries, they have a BREF document for most of the product. The BREF documents means best available technology reference documents. Unfortunately, we do not have at present, but for the first time, GCPC is involved with the support of German Federal Agency of Environment, that is UBA, and with the support of Gujarat Pollution Control Board, will be coming out maybe by next 3 months a BREF document for our textile industry, which will tell to the industry that how the best technologies, peripheral technologies are available and they can implement it. Then again, we are talking of sugarcane ethanol, which is a bio-based polymer, and there are already being manufactured in startup. This is a good scheme of Government of India and Government of Gujarat and many state government, where you can take up such a startup project with the financial support from the state and central government as well. Then energy is one of the missing part, and initially cleaner production, I thought that energy is something different, but while working with many industries, I realized that they are very poor in insulation of their steam pipe. And steam pipeline is very important for any industries, because they have to transfer their steam from boiler to the various places, and the poor insulation is a very problem for them. And just investment of some around 8 lakhs of rupees, the payback period was hardly 2 years. So whatever the money they spend, and that is what the advantage in cleaner production and clean technology, that there is a calculated payback period. Whatever investment you do will come back to you within a year, 2 or 3. So what are the strategies for sustainable industrial development? When you design, that is what I have been telling to my young chemical engineers, that whenever you are involved in designing of any product or involved in any process or working for any industry, you must think about the reduction of the material use, because you must understand. And my experience, friends, is that our small and medium scale industries, they are not aware about any chemistry, unfortunately. So you must understand that what is the stoichiometry, how you can create a reduction in waste by optimizing uses of materials, or if at all there is something, you just create a degradable products, byproducts, design products which have minimum impact on the environment. And very important that somebody would be covering life cycle analysis. That is also part of cleaner production. You must understand LCA of that particular product, and when you design, you must also consider life cycle analysis, and you should use material which are having less energy intensive, less water, and then from toxic to non-toxic materials. And that is coal, which is creating more air pollution. Now, of course, Pollution Control Board is not allowing any industry to use coal as a fuel. So now we are transferring from this conventional fuel to gas, and now we are also talking of some solar energy in one of our industrial estate. And waste material, that is very important. that how we can use waste material from one industry to the raw material or some useful material for the next industry. And that is what I call industrial symbiosis. And then publish the inventory material so that it should be available to all. And with this cleaner production concept, for the first time probably in our state, a subject has been introduced at B Environmental Engineering and some master's program also. And we have compiled the book having case studies and some theoretical portion. And this is very important. And it was what earlier mentioned by one of your professor also, that when I realized that what we are doing as a facilitator, and then I found a gap between academia. We have got learned professors, very learned professors. You are equipped with very good library. You have got a team of young students, young engineers, good laboratory facilities. But how it is being used for the industries? So that is what I realized, that there is a gap between industry, academia, and government like me, a facilitator. And then when I visited number of European countries, I realized that most of the universities are involved and are working closely with the industries whenever they design a new product or whenever they discuss about the environmental issues. So with this, what I call interlinking of industries, government and academia, we have started one project where we invite abstract of our final year and master's program, even PhD scholars, and their research work or thesis work. And then we have a jury, we have industries, and then we see how they can apply the research which can be applied to the industries. And we arrange a program. We encourage students by giving some case prize. We also motivate their guides and supervisors. So, and now we look forward. I've been talking to GTU and other universities that we are collecting a real problem from the industries, wherever they are facing in any process, or if they wanted to develop a new process with green chemistry. And those subjects can be given to some scholars and some students who can work on it. They can complete their dissertation, maybe graduate, postgraduate, or thesis sort of thing for PhD. And then how best we can apply to the industry. So it is interlinking. It is a successful program, and I have been receiving good abstracts from our SUNIT. And this is another positive thing for the cleaner production. As I told you that there was a difficulty in attitudinal change, but for the first time, our state, when Shri Modi ji was CM here in 2006, he instituted one CP award, because he told me that why industries are not coming forward. What is the fear? So I said that they need motivation, they need encouragement, because they are doing something new. They are doing something which is not a traditional thing. And therefore, to motivate them, our state government has instituted what I call Cleaner Production Award, which is given to the industries who have done the best exemplary implementation of cleaner production. We compare 4 parameters: how best you can reduce your water, and so your wastewater, solid waste, and how you can reduce the use of energy. So we compare these 4 parameters before cleaner production and after cleaner production, and then we select industries for the award. So that is what the state government initiative, and now something which we are now doing of eco-industrial parks, and that is the sustainable industrial development, because our conventional industrial estate are generating waste, treating and disposing of. And when I talk of eco-industrial park, it is now very common. The South Korea has got many examples, followed by China, even countries like Thailand, even in some European countries now they are talking of industrial ecology and a part of eco-industrial park. So we look at the environmental performance, we look at the industrial ecology, industrial ecosystem, and industrial park as well. So it is a 5-step approach we have developed. We have to develop a methodology, build a prototype, define scene area, collect data, which is very important, and then the result. So from our point of view, we look at the micro level, which I will tell you how best we can implement more and more cleaner production at industry level, so they can implement a low carbon technology with the introduction of green chemistry, talking of renewable energy. So that is at company level. At an industrial park, collective resources, what are the resources, how infrastructure, what are the supply and services, and very third, we are talking of now waste management, recycle, and corporate CSR, and that is what we call sustainable cities as well. So when I talk of retrofitting of our existing industrial estate, I'll show you some case studies. I'm attending at micro level. What is the overall resource efficiency at industry level? So we have to do more and more implementation of our cleaner production tools in industry so that they can reduce their waste. Then we must study their energy and water management, solid management, how environment management overall. Do they have a disaster management facility? Or do they have, because now we have been facing so many fatal accident, disaster. So disaster management at industry level is also very important. Of course, health and safety, what type of green belt he has, and what are the capacity building we have to take up, including training. So that is what we are addressing at micro level, followed by at macro level, that is at the estate level, what type of road and rail network they have. As I told you that many of our estates are 30 years old. So their common infrastructure, including road, drainage, that needs upgradation. What type of stormwater, green belt, what type of CETPs and common environmental infrastructure facilities do they have? The management cell, common management cell, common disaster management cell at industry level, then climate change adaptation and climate proofing. Now we are talking of rain harvesting at the state level, and also we are applying a new tool of GIS. And third and very important for my young chemical engineers is industrial symbiosis. How best we can exchange of our excess heat and steam, how best we can use our waste, whatever we call waste, as a resource to the next industry. So you have to develop a network among the industry itself to use that waste of one industry as a resource to the next industry, possibility of recover as a byproduct, and that is what I am talking of waste exchange. So we are talking of waste exchange bank at some estate where they have a display of their waste, and then they discuss how your waste can be used for my product. We are talking of co-processing, common human resources, and common logistic services. So this is one example of Nandesari estate, which we have taken up as a pilot study. It is located near Baroda. So we have taken 20 pilot studies where we have implemented the cleaner production, and the result is very encouraging. It's of course because it was a UNIDO project. The money is in US dollar, but you can see that the payback period was very less. Whatever investment, they got it returned within 2 to 3 years, saving their electricity, then material and product recovery also, and ultimately because of renewable fuel, we are talking, there is a reduction in greenhouse gases as well, and saving in water consumption, which was very important. So that is what the micro level we have achieved with 20 pilot case studies only. We have got about 140. So we're talking of replication of this result to the other industries. Then at common level, now for the first time, probably one at Surat, for the second time we are going for a common boiler, a community boiler at Nandesari, which will be commissioning, which will commission maybe in a month or so. Instead of in individual boiler, we will have at one common place. Then we are also putting up a spent acid management. Friends, you know that mostly our pigment, pharma and chemical intermediates, they are generating spent acid. And of course, we are talking of spent acid recovery. We have got SOP also from CPCB, but the management is very difficult. So earlier, this spent acid was addressed at industry level by neutralizing it with lime. That was not the proper engineering. So we will be collecting the spent acid from different industries at one center, and we will be neutralizing it with hydrated lime, properly engineering way. And what we'll get as a solid waste is nothing but gypsum. And we already decided some cement industries where our gypsum will go and will be used for the cement industry, and some spent acid which is bit alkaline can be used for the textile industry. sorry, the spent acid of 30% of acidity will be used for the textile industry because they are generating alkaline waste for neutralization. So maybe some part the spent acid will go to textile industry, rest will come to our spent acid management center, which will be converting into gypsum, and which is a raw material for cement industry. I told you about the forward osmosis, and then that is what we will be recycling 15 mld of our effluent at CETP Nandesari. This is the scenario of Nandesari. So treated wastewater will also go back to the industries. We will be having also a drum decontamination facility because we are getting drums, industries are getting drums as a raw material, and that is the contaminated because of raw material, and it cannot be reused immediately. So there has to be proper washing, and even the wash water is required to treat it. So we'll have a washing facility with the CETP facilities, and what we call drum decontamination facility. And then the solid waste disposal site is there. So for the, we'll be using the vehicle tracking system for the first time, so that we know that particular vehicle who is carrying hazardous solid waste reaches to the right places. And then we earlier we do not have the entry gates. You know, our estate was just near the town or town developed and all that. So we are planning, we are putting up the entry gates at the all entrance with the watchman cabin nearby, and this is how we are improving that. This is what another facility which were missing in our industrial estate. No water, you know. So now we are proposing some 7 water wall mounted ATM, water ATM at different places, so that you can just put up money and then get potable water. And we are also talking of rainwater harvesting tank system at common level at some few places where we'll be recycle and reusing. We are developing almost they have some 25% green belt in the estate, but which we want to go for 33% as a requirement. So this storm water will be used for the again the green belt which we are talking. This was the scenario. You know, look at the road conditions. No proper stormwater drains, no parking and all that, because it was developed more than 25 years. So we are converting into a better infrastructure facilities. We have got a critical infrastructure upgradation of industrial infrastructure scheme, where 85% money is coming for the government and only 15% is required to raise by the beneficiaries. So with that fund, the infrastructure is being improved. We are planning plot mix study and proper drainage, modification in road design, so that we can collect maximum rainwater across the road. This is another missing toilet and washroom facilities. We do not have enough place where we can construct, so we'll be providing mobile toilets, you know. So at few selected places, so at the end of day, you can take it at some places, and which could be a reusable. And so that is what we have proposed here. Also, we are talking of renewable energy. Now we have got some solar application in our industrial policy as well. With the support of WRI, World Resource Institute, we have done one data collection for our Naroda industrial estate, that how much as a estate they are consuming the conventional energy. And now we are talking how much we can replace it with some renewable energy like rooftop and windmill and all that. This is what the missing, because once you go to any industrial estate, either you have to use someone's vehicle or some public transportation, which is sometimes not available. So we are providing of common, cycle facilities like we have in Gandhinagar. As you know that we have G-bike in Gandhinagar at 20 places. The government has provided places where you can have cycle like this. Initially, it was free for a whole day, but now for initial 2 hours, it is a free, which you can use and put it back to the station, that particular place. Or even we are talking of golf, battery operated golf car like this, which we have in our secretariat at Gandhinagar. So once you enter into the gate, you can put your vehicle at the entry only, and then you can move in such a battery operated or solar operated car. This is what unfortunately we had encroachment, because you need some hotel or some sort of refreshment things. So we had unorganized this, which now we are proposing a kiosk as a mobile kiosk, so that you can take it one place to another place. This is what the scenario of. So unfortunately, hazardous waste disposal facilities, yes, we have, but non-hazardous other domestic waste or some construction waste, that is being a problem for us. It is just littered here and there, and mostly our stormwater drains are filled up with this. So this was the scenario which we are putting up some bins over there at industry level and at common level, and also we are proposed to collect some food waste and going for a composting plant as well. This is the industrial symbiosis. We have carried out some study where, for example, on sodium metal, having spent aluminum chloride as a waste stream, which would be used for the another Shikala intermediates, and the product goes to Indian Oil. So that spent aluminum chloride will be used as a part of raw material for one industry. At the same time, the iron sludge from some industries and with the CTP is being sent to the cement industry, Ultra Tech, for example, and that is what. But here we do not have expertise. So I'm looking forward from our young chemical engineers how best they can work out with the different waste from the different industries, and how we can use as a raw material or as a resource of the another industry. Another case study, Jadejaji, I have some 10-15 minutes. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another 10 minutes. This is the case study of Dahej. Again, here I told you that almost 490 square kilometer, phase 1, 2, 3 are developed. And this is what the snapshot of our some port facilities, cargo facilities developed by our GIDC. And this is what the phase-wide development, the network of road in phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have got 2 SEZ. So at micro level, we have also taken 18 industries where we have carried out detailed cleaner production assessment. Of course, we could collect only data from 16 industries out of 18, and that is difficult part, you know. The real data collection, authentic data collection is very important when we go for the cleaner production assessment. We have completed in 4, and then we are talking of, they have taken our suggestion at lab scale, and now we are talking of to implement, and with that, we look forward encouraging result. So these are some case studies where the land use distribution also replanned, so that you can have more than 33% of green area, and the transportation between among the industrial area itself with the proper water supply, stormwater drain, wastewater collection system, CETP. As I told you, the land use distribution is also very good. This is the network of almost now 6-lane road between from Bharuch to Dahej. It's almost 50 kilometers, and it's just a network of road where we have used the fly ash as a sub base in our road network. So that is also, we have used a fly ash from different industrial zone. And we are talking of Ahmedabad Vadodara National Expressway to be extended to Mumbai, and that is what we talk of, to connect this with the 6th laning of Dahej Bharuch road, and almost 42 kilometers of state highway. This state highway being upgraded in 4 lanes, which we are now talking of 6 lanes, and we have got the coastal highway as well, proper signage, and we are trying to use more and more solar signage. Proper, then the green belt and walkways along the road. As I told you, the solar LED street lights, entry exit rate, security cabin, and solar BRTs. We are talking of public toilets, that was missing, but now we are incorporating drinking water through ATM at different places, automobile services, because very important when you have a huge area like this and so many transportation of big cargoes and all that, you need to have a proper automobile services at different places. Then safety and accident response and CCTV at some location. It is how the smart logistic part we have. with the integration of road, rail and port, loading and unloading facilities, customized warehouses, canteen, toilets for drivers, because they need to stay at a proper place with the proper sanitation facilities. So we have got few logistic park where we have provided common facilities for their drivers and other staff members. We are also talking of upgradation of rail infrastructure between Bharuch and Dahej. Existing is already there, but we want to connect it through Delhi and maybe Bombay. We have a plan of air strip at this thing. At present, it is the nearest is Surat, of course, the seaport, and then we are having too much transportation through cargo. I mean, our port facilities. As I told you that we have got the LNG port, Petronet of LNG Petronet. We have got the liquid fuel jetty of Reliance, then solid cargo jetty of Birla Copper, and Adani also. So this is how we have, you know, that there is a roll and roll of service, that is RO service, a ferry service between Bhavnagar and Dahej, which has reduced the length. Earlier it was almost 300 kilometers when you have to travel from Bhavnagar to Dahej, which is reduced to hardly 30 kilometers and 1 hour journey. And it is very adventurous and pleasant journey from Ghoga, that is near Bhavnagar, to Dahej. As I told you that we have got 2 CETPs of 40 MLD capacity already inbuilt. We are collecting, treating, and we have provided a disposal facilities of 90 MLD into the deep sea of 55 kilometer pipeline. And so that is what we are talking of, zoning of different, segregation of waste, so that is easy to treat. And now we are trying more and more recycling of treated wastewater for solid hazardous waste under one SPV. There is a facility already created there, which will be taking care of hazardous waste being generated. And now we are talking of social infrastructure also. As I told you that it is the sustainable industrial development. So you should have schools, hospitals, shopping malls, hubs, cinema halls, then housing, which is, we have got 2 big housing facilities, so that they can, the not only the labor, even the executives from the different industries can comfortably stay. When we are talking of community kitchens, they can provide a packed food, because many times we have got bachelors engineers, so we'll be having a bachelors hostel, and they can be provided a good quality food. Then we have garden, playgrounds, recreation centers, and we are very religious, so we are talking of religious centers as well, community hall, and MSW was missing. So for the first time, we are developing municipal solid waste disposal facilities, then adequate facilities for your safety, number of police stations just to minimize crime, CCTV, fire and emergency response centers. We already have one disaster management center at estate level, and each industry should have one disaster management cell for chemical hazard and prevention management. Then the central information and data management center, and periodic training. So we have 2 big conferences where we can conduct a regular training for the different people for cleaner production and clean technology. Other proposals includes information combination, GIS based surveillance, risk response system, then R&D that is missing. So we are going to develop one R&D center here, which you can discuss more and more on green chemistry, new product design, common laboratory facilities, center of excellence, then demonstration come business exhibition, because you have to exhibit your product at the entrance of industrial park itself, so that you can invite foreign investment, tell about your product. All legal, financial, technical advisor at one place through, and then we are going for more and more on green building concept with solar rooftops, possibility of using recycled treated domestic industrial waste, water in their domestic purposes, and common energy project as well. Another very 5 minutes next, Naroda. This is already we have implemented. This was our first case study. Naroda having almost 700 industries spread in 363 hectares, and where we have taken up this eco-industrial park retrofitting. many important industries like Reliance, Siemens, Ingersoll, Edelweiss, Disman, Nirma, Birla, their industries located here in Naroda. So we have taken up how we can have more green belt in their common places. A Kharikat canal was just passing across the estate, which was nothing but effluent channel, which we have upgraded, and we converted their existing road in a better quality under our infrastructure support schemes, where they get 85% support, financial support from the state government. We have now ready with the gate. It was under construction, now it is ready. So we have got at about 4 or 5 entry, and so we have provided gates like this with the security cabin. We are also we have one common effluent treatment plant. Now we are upgrading with some a technology from Israel, which will address their COD, and will be able to bring down their effluent, which could be recycled and reused. So this is what the common effluent treatment plant, which is being upgraded. We have many food industries across the estate, so we have got a common biogas plant. We are generating biogas, and we have also provided multi-stage force evaporator. Then this is TSDF. I told you that on the right side, it is the properly kept, and we are having musical night or even the marriage reception center on the kept TSDF. And this is how the community hall is also there. It is already filled up, and we have provided a green garden. The acid washery, as I told you, that at Vatwa we have facility where we are collecting spent acid from Naroda, Odo, and Vatwa and converting into gypsum. And this is the waste museum, as I told you, from waste to wealth, where there is a display of waste from different industries with their characteristics, and they discuss among industries how it can be used as a resource to the other industries. The windmill project, they have windmill at near Veraval, and they are getting credit under that global warming scheme. And this is how the community, we have got a local cleaner production center at Naroda. They call it CPCNN. It was earlier GCPC session. They call it now GAPPA session, where once a month every industries with our team meet and discuss about 3R principle, that is reduce, recycle, and resell and reuse. And this is how proper cleaning and sweeping arrangement they made under Swachh Bharat. More green belt, more nursery. Earlier a barren land is now converted into a very green belt. Distribution of plants. Even the nursery is providing plants to the nearby area. We are inviting students from the different colleges and showing them. This is the very vigilant president of Naroda Enviro project, Mr. Shailesh Patwari, was the ex-president of Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry as well. And more interlinking, and we are receiving many foreign delegates also, students also from the different countries. At the common facilities of welding machine or some motor mechanic, but some shops. This is the interaction of center of excellence. Visit, students encouragement, the mock drills for the safety and health, the gender equality. We are inviting ladies nearby, and we are conducting how they can reduce their domestic waste, including plastic, paper, food in their kitchen itself. Also a job create, I mean, that is what the nearby ITI, and we are getting students. We are having one what we call Rojgar Bharti Melo, so that they can directly get employment. This is how the captive nursery developed by an industrial estate. Just look at it, the green garden, the green belt, and now this is the common this washrooms, the traffic island with the green belt. And the green stages, again, we have some in plotting study. This was the natural creek earlier, which we had, and now it would be like this, converting into the proper with a sort of recreation center nearby. And this is the industrial symbiosis, where we are using pigment waste to some other industries, then fly ash, the road construction, then the food waste to to biogas plant and the spent acid, the converting gypsum to the cement industry, and the ceramic industries, broken tiles back to the brick manufacturing industries, and the broken bricks are being used in the construction like compound wall and all that. So that is what the model we have developed, which we are still working. And as I told you that we do not have much strength and knowledge about industrial symbiosis. So we are taking help from our UNIDO, and not at the last and not, but I request my young friend, that is what Go Green Bicycles. You have got a very good campus in Surat. I stayed in the hostels when I was studying there. And at that time also we were using cycle. We got cycle from some local friends. And from as on date also, I do not have four-wheeler of my own. So still I'm using cycle, which is also possible in Surat and Gandhinagar as well. Of course, Gandhinagar is possible. Surat now it is a bit difficult. I request my all young friends to go for more and more use of bicycles, and I call Go Green Bicycles. And with this cleaner production, friends, we are achieving almost some sustainable industrial goals defined by UNO, particularly, as I told you, responsible consumption and production, climate action, followed by life below water, life above water, partnership, because it's a teamwork. You cannot do alone. You have to consult all stakeholders, all field people who are working at shop. Then it is industry innovation, and we are poor in innovation and research and development. We should come out with decent and economic growth and use affordable and clean energy. And we have got very encouraging industrial policy. I will not go into the detail, where we are supporting any industry who implements our cleaner production with the support of almost 35 lakhs of rupees will come from the government for the implementation. So this is what the win-win situation. CP award is there, green, this CP policy is there, and we see that more and more industry should come forward for the CP implementation. I hope that I have taken enough time. Thank you for your all support and giving me the opportunity. And I also apologize for initial some technical glitch. I always welcome students. I keep visiting Surat. I love to visit Surat. So Jadeja sir, maybe next time when I come, I will meet you. I will remember all those teenagers which I had spent in hostels and in Chowpatty and Mysore Cafe. So with all the best, wish you a bright future. Stay safe and healthy, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we'll take some questions, sir, from the participants. So few questions have already been put up on the chat box. So I am letting you know what type of questions are there. One is any support provided by GCPC to entrepreneurs who are working on solid waste management at decentralized level? If it is provided, then what type of supports is provided by GCPC?
Yeah, as a good question. I'll take a minute, because our center is also sustainable. You know, to run the center, I'm not taking any grant. I want to make it more and more professional. So whenever any industry approach to us with some environmental issues, like as I told you, the solid waste problem, for example. So first we'll see why they're generating. The first attempt should be how best we can reduce. What could be the preventive measures? That is first attempt. And second, if at all he has generated, what it is, why it is, when it is, and how best we can utilize for some other as a byproduct or some other resources. So we always guide and we take these assignments, which is and for that I'm charging to run the center, to make the center sustainable. We are providing these services, of course, on a very minimal charges, because I have a team of young around 15 chemical engineers. So I have to take care of them. So then we are charging, and then we are providing them a solution. And we see that they also get financial benefits under our industrial policy. And this is how we are closely working with a network. Yeah.
Okay, sir. One more is there, that is, what type of measures are be taken by GCPC or government of Gujarat about river pollution by industries? Because at many parts, like one example is of Mahisagar River near Padra, which have highly contaminated groundwater at present also.
Yeah. So that is what I told you, that mostly our rivers, the stretches are polluted, unfortunately, and that is the unorganized. For example, if you take the belt of Mahi River, now we have some unorganized industries located. It is not any designated GIDC, and unfortunately, they are discharging as if that the river is available, and the monitoring lies with the Gujarat Pollution Control Board. And you know, to monitor all these industries is very difficult. So if they approach to us, we are able to provide them solutions. We have so many industries, and we could address only about 100 industries as a CP implementation, but we are always available. So if any specific problem comes to us, we'll definitely guide industries that no, you should not throw your waste. Instead, you should minimize, or if required, treat it. So that monitoring, though it is very strict by Pollution Control Board, there are always some industries are taking undue advantage. So that is the discipline comes first. So if they approach, we'll provide the particular case, we'll provide them guidance. That is what we are looking forward. Na? That is what I like to have more industries. Yeah.
Okay, sir, one more is there, that is, can we treat and recover water from grey water with decentralized mechanism?
Yeah. The recycle of grey water is now very possible, very simple. And as I told you that in Dholera, when we are developing many housing colonies, right from the conceptual stage, we have provided recycling of grey water and recycling of black water both. So once it will be developed, it is possible, it is feasible. And as I told you that most of our estates are very old. So we are talking of retrofitting into eco-industrial park. But the new development like Dahej and Dholera, right from the conceptual stage, these facilities are in built. And of course, two STPs are coming out at Dholera, which will be recycling each drop of that wastewater which they receive. So recycling of grey water is very simple, and at many few housing colonies, it is already being practiced at domestic level. Yeah.
Sir, one is a very pertinent question from the electric vehicles part that will probably dominate our future. So that is aluminum air batteries that are used for EVs. They show good sustainability in the product life cycle. However, it gives a negative impression due to the frequent replacement of the electrodes and the utilization of aluminum metal. So how can we justify such contradictory technology for the implementation of CP tools to the aluminum metal recyclers and EV manufacturers?
Yeah, so I know this is a good question indeed. And therefore, when we talk of new technologies, we have to see the environmental parameters. In this particular case, there is a frequent replacement and all that, which is creating some problem. But now under Rule 9, provided you know that some experts are developing SOP. They have to develop standard operating practices. So one agency, I cannot name right now because it is under planning stage. They are coming out with some SOP which they have to get it approved from the Central Pollution Control Board. And once it is approved, they will be allowed to do it, to run pilot plant for 6 months. So I believe that the consultant or experts like we have, I've gone through this, closely working with some academic institutions as well, will come out with some amicable solution, because this is already being discussed, and they are talking of some solution out of it. So once the SOP is developed, it will be discussed in open forum also. And I foresee that by December, that SOP will come, because that is the problem is already taken under Rule 9. Rule 9 is that how you can use waste of one industry as a useful or in captive use also, or for the other industries. So for to use any waste, they call it waste. You have to develop one SOP, the standard operating practices. The user has to develop that SOP, and that he has to get it approved from Central Pollution Control Board. So some experts, being this is a real problem, they are working on it, and I foresee result within a month or so. We'll have solution.
Okay. And sir, one more is this one is again from chat box, that is pertaining to the linkage of RO membrane and FO treatment. So one of the participants says that he has identified non-performance of the reverse osmosis membrane after the forward osmosis treatment for desalination after about 72 hours of the operation.
Oh.
So the possible reason is saying that it might be due to the concentration polarization on the RO membranes. So, hence, can we have considered parameters for the proposed wastewater recycling plant?
Yeah, it's a specific problem, and I would like to know more about it, because whenever we have provided sort of common RO at some places, we are facing a problem of disposal of rejects. You cannot regenerate the membrane. So they are now providing common multi-effective evaporator, and they say that you have to evaporate it, which is also very problematic, and you need huge energy. So I also like to have more debate, because when you use RO, the regeneration of membrane or the life of membrane is also very important. In this particular case, I would like to have more details through mail, and probably we can work together, because that is one of the projects somebody has taken. Somebody has taken in Gujarat startup, some student from Vellore or IIT Madras, I believe, something like that, and he has taken this startup, this case study as a startup facility, which he got some financial support and some technical support from the government. So this particular case, I would like to have more details so we can discuss, and we'll see that how we can work out in a better options. So this is a good, and I would like to have more details through mail.
So, sir, we will share your mail ID with the participants also.
Please do that. Please do that.
In case anybody is interested or wants some more
most welcome,
detail.
most welcome. They are most welcome to interact. Even it is a knowledge action. Looking to your Jadeja Sahab, your list, I found the many learned people. I don't consider myself among them, to be very honest. So it is an exchange of knowledge. Even my young engineers can give some good tips. Many times some good options come from the person who are working on the floor itself. कि सर इसका बेरिंग क्या है, बेरिंग से करंट ज्यादा जा रहा है और ये सेठ जी बेरिंग नहीं बदल रहा है. So simply the replacement of bearing is also initial cost, but then there is a payback period. So good tools are coming from young engineers also. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So of the participant wants to ask any questions, then you can ask. Any of the participants?
Waiting for lunch.
Okay, so sir, that's all. Means
just a little information. That is under Green Skill Development Program of Government of India. We are conducting 2 training programs. Yeah. One is for CP assessor, and another is trainers, master trainers for the CETP, ETP operators. So they invite application by Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, and then they select 15 candidates, 15 students for both this training, and every expenditure towards lodging and boarding is being provided by the Government of India. So we conduct training program for 90 hours for CP of this operators and this part, and for CP assessors about 60 hours. They are giving theoretical knowledge followed by the practical experience and on hand in the different industries. So they can also participate. Only thing that they will announce somewhere because of COVID-19 it is extended. Maybe in the month of December they will invite applications. So those young engineers who want to undergo, they will be given this the certificate under GSDP, Green Skill Development Project, and It would be very interesting program for ETP, CETP operators, master trainer for CETP, ETP operators, and another is CP assessors. So I invite students to take benefit of it if they want to go for such training. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, the details will be available on GCPC website.
Yeah,
No?
it would.
Okay, sir. Okay. So thank you very much, sir. Once again, I am thanking you on behalf of organizing coordinators of this FDP for giving us an opportunity and for sparing the time for this expert session. Thank you very much, sir. Over to Meghal.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Jadeja. Now we will have a break and you are requested to join by 2:15 so that we can start our next session at 2:30. Okay. Thank you for joining the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.